betting brand for sports fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.
Fox Sports Lab, NFL, Kansas City Chiefs next to talk about, and they've been in the Super Bowl, what's that now? Their third Super Bowl in the last 4 years. They've got Patrick Mahomes. They expect to be in the Super Bowl. Freddie made a good point about his high ankle sprain over the last couple of weeks. Mahomes has been staying in the pocket more. It seems to be working. We know he ran out of receivers last week through injury. Fingers crossed that most of those are back, so he's got a few more options. Do you want him in the pocket or do you want him moving around?
I think we're going to see a bit of a slight combo. There might have been a little bit of foxing, I think, going on with that high ankle sprain.
Foxing?
It was, it looked pretty hurt, but, 3 weeks sort of from the initial sort of thing, I think he might be a little bit scrambly here and there. But I think this is the thing, Mahomes as a passer is par excellence, right? Like, to throw in a bit of France for you. But the vibe, I think, over yards is my play for Mahomes. I think we hit that pretty handily.
Yeah.
I think
what are we talking? Because only 30 yards of their offense last week against the Bengals wasn't Mahomes.
Exactly right. I think so much of their game plan revolves around Mahomes and what he can do. And I think if he can scramble just that little bit extra than he could 2 weeks ago, I think that just opens it up so much more, Matty. And I think we get a pretty handy sort of slinging the ball kind of game from Patrick Mahomes.
Freddie, I guess we do expect that from Mahomes, don't we? We know that he's going to throw the ball. What do the Eagles have to do from an Eagles perspective? We talked about the pass rush, but what about in the secondary?
About the secondary, it has been quiet. You haven't heard his name because you haven't heard his name for a reason. He's been locking down a lot of wide receivers. Darius Slay, he's been really, really good, and I really see a turnover from him. I really see him picking the ball off of a Mahomes mistake, and I think that's going to be the turnaround for the Eagles to win the championship. I think that they haven't been tested. And they could be tested. They will be tested by Andy Reid. He will have some trick plays up his sleeve. And I think that Kelce he's just the man to really determine the ending of the ball game.
I'm glad you mentioned Kelce because he's next on the rundown there, Freddie. So good to see you sticking to our game plan. But it's hard not to mention Kelce. I mean, 2 weeks ago he had 14 catches, and he looked last week or 2 weeks ago. He looked against the Bengals as if he was going to dominate. All of a sudden they double team him, take him out of the play a bit, but he's always going to be there right from the start until you double team him.
Exactly right. Like, he is sort of everything that revolves, everything on that KC offense revolves around what he can do.
Yeah.
And it's like the catching, the blocking, he's incredible. And amazingly, he's got 8 touchdowns in the last 9 playoff games for KC. So look, I think his over/under for his yards, if you hit that sort of 75 plus sort of mark,
he can do that. He can do that very quickly.
He can do it really quickly. Just sheer volume.
Yeah.
Like, if he's got 7 catches, he's going to hit that. So I'm always going to play probably the Kelce over when it comes to yards.
Yep.
Probably an anytime touchdown as well, just because he just takes up such a large chunk of that sort of offensive planning from Andy Reid and co. And I can't go against Kelce. He's had such a good year. He and Mahomes have such a great connection that it's going to be there in the Super Bowl, surely. Yeah,
it's the Kelce Bowl, as we know, and Kelce and Mahomes, so much symbiotic relationship there. Freddie also mentioned Pacheco, this rookie that Kansas have. Now, he didn't have a lot of running yards against the Bengals, but he's also punt returns, and he's also an option for Mahomes when pressured on when that pass rush comes. He uses him on laterals, and he gets some reception yards as well.
This is it. I love the idea of like a rushing plus receiving play for Pacheco, but also I think his reception yards will be through the roof, because I think this is like part of the game plan, right? If you've got that Philly pass rush, you've got to get it out quick. That's a screen pass to your running back. Pacheco, we've seen him over the last few weeks catching more passes, so I'll be playing his reception numbers over 3. I'll be playing his reception yards over 20 plus easily, and I'll be running pretty hardcore with the Pacheco. I know that Philly's, Freddie's all over the Pacheco at the moment. The rushing might be a bit more of a concern because I think this Philly defense is just so good. So I'd probably lean towards the receptions with the running back.
Freddie, Valdez-Scantling scored a touchdown for the Chiefs in both their playoffs games. He looms as a tall target for Mahomes.
Yeah, and you got to understand, as James related, the run is going to be tough. But Andy doesn't like to run the ball anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I would like in the first 15 is a scripted play that Andy does. First 15, I think there will be at least 3 screenplays, one to Kelce and then one to the running back. Andy loves when you take away the run. He loves that. So you're feeding into his own game plan. I think that there's going to be a lot of receivers going to be out there that's going to actually make a name for themselves in this offense, because it's one of those offense that it gets you open. You don't have to get yourself open. The offense gets you open, and it makes big plays.
Well, before we get your same game multi on the Kansas side of it, Jaymz, can you find room in there for a defensive player? I mean, Chris Jones is the leader of that defensive line. He's the spiritual leader of the team. Can you find room in there for a defensive player in the same game multi? We know we're going to have Kelce's and Mahomes' everywhere, but can Chris Jones get in there?
This is the trickier one. Like, if you want to play sack numbers, you got to remember last game was the first time we'd gotten a playoff sack. So it's kind of pretty tricky to go with it and sort of lean into it. I think it's more about containment for that KC defense than like really going hammer and tongs and trying to ruin everybody's day and trying to like get a defensive touchdown or something like that. I think they'll get really on top of Hurts, but that Philly O-line is probably too good, so I'd probably lean away from defensive players for the KC Chiefs.
Give us your same game multi for the Kansas City Chiefs fans.
We've already mentioned Mahomes, Matty. I'm going to lean pretty hard on Mahomes. 275 plus passing yards.
Easy.
I think we see that in the air. It's, as Freddie mentioned, right? It's going to be, the runs are going to be taken away. We're going to see Mahomes slinging it. Threw for 326 on one leg in the championship game. He's gone for over that 275 mark in 11 of his last 15. I feel pretty good about it in the Super Bowl. 3+ touchdowns. This
for
is
Kansas?
For Kansas City. Well, for Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, for Patrick for throwing it? Okay, because we want the overs.
Exactly. I want to go the overs. So I'm going to go the 3+ because I just think in terms of the KC offense, and Freddie can attest to this, it's just going to be a lot of throwing. So when you get in the red zone, he's going to be throwing the ball a bunch. Maybe Pacheco gets in there as well. But Mahomes, he threw for 5 last time the Eagles played the Chiefs. I don't mind this. And I think you can throw on this Eagles defense just a little bit. Whenever they've played a really tough passing attack, there have been Dak Prescott and co. We even saw it with the Detroit Lions this year. You can throw on them and get some yards. You just got to, wondering about beating them. So Mahomes 3+ touchdowns. Kelce, we've mentioned him, 80+ receiving yards and an anytime touchdown in there as well. He's the dominant receiver for that team. And if you're going to go the Chiefs, you got to go the line. Off you go with the +1.5, +2.5, and away you go. So we're going to build around Mahomes, build around Kelce, KC to win, because that's how they win the game. Simple as that.
No surprises there. Freddie, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you over this last 5 weeks. We know you're going to the game. Good luck. I know you're leaving tomorrow. Good luck with the parties. Good luck with the fun, with the build-up. But more importantly, good luck when you go to the game for your Eagles.
I'm more excited to see Rihanna. I'm not going to lie. I've seen a football game or two. I need to see Rihanna. My mission in life is to get a photo with me, with Rihanna and actually just sing work with her. I can't wait for this. It's going to be a good setup. 2 number 1s going at it.
Freddie, safe trip.
Thank you, sir. See you guys.
Freddie Mitchell has been joining us right throughout our little look at the end of this NFL season, mate. I know you've got a big function, you'll be watching it, so it's a big day.
I can't wait. I'm just going to be absolutely rolling around in all my sort of picks and tips and everything, and it is the best day on the sporting calendar, I think, especially for American sport. It's going to be huge. Rihanna, can't wait. And I reckon, there you go, there's another novelty in there for you, Matty. Her first outfit, I'm going to go silver grey. I think she comes out in something pretty big, strips it back, and then she gets dancing, and away we go. So,
lovely work. Jaymz Clements, as always. Thank you, Jaymz, and look forward to your continued Fox Sports Lab NBA. But thank you for joining us. Wherever you're watching the Super Bowl, whether at home or at a function, or just keeping an eye on the scores. Enjoy the game. We know it's going to be a good one. You can subscribe below, but make sure you enjoy Super Bowl 57. We'll see you next season.
The betting brand for sports fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.